لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزا الله الشيخ على هذه الخطبة النافعة، نسأل الله ينفعنا بها. Today's khutbah was about the topic of al-fitan, which can be loosely translated as trials, tribulations, tests. And the topic basically revolved around three major aspects of this topic. The first of them being that as time passes on and human society gets closer and closer to the last days, the fitna and the trials and the tests increase. And this is from the Sunnah of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And we have many ahadith from the Prophet ﷺ that indicate this to us. So he mentioned, Hafidhahullah, some of the narrations that mention about this, including the one in which the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that a man will walk by the grave of a person and he will say, if only I was in their place, meaning that if only I was dead, because of the amount of trials and tribulations that those who are living have to face. And he mentioned that dying is actually better for a Muslim than facing the trials and tribulations, because the greatest trial that can befall a Muslim is the trial in his religion, whereby he is confronted by doubts which may cause him to leave his deen, which is the greatest loss to the believer. So he mentioned about this, and he mentioned about the fact that one of the greatest things that Islam has sought to preserve and avoid fitna and trials and tribulation in is regarding the lives of people. So the life of a Muslim is sacred, and there are many ayat of the Quran and a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that show us the grave and serious nature of spilling blood unjustly. And he mentioned that the first thing that the person will be accountable for on the Day of Judgment is the blood that he spilled unjustly. So the blood and spilling of blood is one of the fitans. It's one of the great tribulations and trials, and it's something that we see every day on the media, in the news, day and night. We see in our time, which is supposed to be a time of civilization, more and more killing, which shows us the truth of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and what he conveyed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he mentioned, Hafidhahullah, a number of narrations which show us the position of the Muslim towards these trials and tribulations, and that he should seek refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save him from the trials and tribulations that befall the people. And he mentioned from them the dua that the Prophet ﷺ taught us, and this is part of the prayer that shows us the importance and the seriousness and the reality of trials and tribulations, that within the prayer, which is the second pillar of Al-Islam, the Prophet ﷺ taught us to seek refuge in Allah from the fitna. And he mentioned four things that we seek refuge for in this dua. And we say, Allahumma na'udhu bika min fitnatil qabr. We seek Allah's refuge from the fitna, the trial of the grave. And when we seek Allah's refuge with fitnatil nar, from the fitna, the trial of the fire. And we seek Allah's refuge from al-mahya wa mamat, which is life and death. Because living has fitnas and dying has also fitnas and trials. And then he mentioned the fourth one, which is seeking refuge with Allah Azza wa Jal from the fitna of al-Masih al-Dajjal, the false prophet that will come at the end of time. So these are the things that the Prophet ﷺ taught us to seek refuge for in the prayer, which shows us the importance and seriousness of this. In addition to that, we also have a dua that the Prophet ﷺ used to say, a beautiful dua, and there are some variations in the wording of it. One of them is in the narration in which the Prophet ﷺ said, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-khayrat wa tarku al-munkarat wa hubbu al-masakin. And in one narration, وَإِذَا أَرَدْتَ بِعِبَادِكَ فِتْنَةً فَقْبِضْنَا إِلَيْكَ غَيْرَ مَفْتُونٍ. The part that is important to us in this hadith is the Prophet ﷺ asking in the dua, seeking what? Seeking refuge from the fitna. That if the fitna befalls the people, that we ask Allah to save us from it and make us not those who are tested by it. The dua, it says, Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-khayrat. Oh Allah, I seek refuge, I seek with you good. Wa tarku al-munkarat, and leaving that which is evil, leaving sin and disobedience. Wa hubbu al-masakin, and loving those poor people and weak people, which is part of our iman. It's part of iman to love for those who are weak and oppressed. And then the last part of the dua, the Prophet ﷺ taught us to say that if you decide a trial for your people, that you save us from it without being tested by it. So all of this shows us, brothers and sisters, the importance of seeking refuge, and that seeking refuge in Allah from the fitna is one of the means of averting it. And Ammar ibn Yasir rahimahullah, radiallahu anhu, one of the famous Sahaba, when he was told by the Prophet ﷺ that he was going to be killed, the first thing that Ammar did was he said, what? A'udhu billah min al-fitna. That he sought refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from the trial and of that. And then he mentioned in the second part of the khutbah an incident which occurred recently in Zulfi, where some people decided to attack a checkpoint and try to create havoc and to spread fitna, and they were of course taken out, they were killed. To preserve the society from the dangerous nature of people taking the law into their own hands and causing havoc and disobeying the command of the person that is in authority, spilling bloodshed of those who are innocent, and all different kinds of evils that are attached to that. And he mentioned this as an example of a recent incident right here, which shows us the danger of al-fitna. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to preserve the Muslim societies from all fitna, and that He bring upon us and upon the Muslim societies peace, tranquility. هذا والله أعلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.